I'm Jono. 4 Linux game launchers, 1 investigation. Let's go.
4 tools that define how games run on the alternative operating system. 1 is a 17 billion revenue platform that says you never owned your games. 1 is a volunteer-built adapter that breaks whenever a third-party store changes its authentication. 1 is a preservation platform with community install scripts, a 40% funding decline, and undisclosed artificial intelligence code. 1 is a precision environment manager where the isolation that protects the system also prevents the application from working. Steam, Heroic, Lutris, and Bottles. The dominant platform created the ecosystem when it shipped handheld hardware running an alternative operating system. The open source tools fill the gaps. None of them replace each other. Each solves a different problem, and the choice between them is not which tool is best, but which combination fits the way you use your games on an operating system that none of these games were originally designed for. Steam launched in September 2003 as a patch distribution system. Gabe Newell and Mike Harrington founded the company behind it in 1996. Every major release required the client. Third-party publishers followed the audience. By January 2026, over 41 million users were online simultaneously. Approximately 360 employees run the platform. The subscriber agreement is explicit: licensed, not sold. No title or ownership. In July 2025, approximately 100 games were removed because a payment processor changed its content policy. 80,000 people signed a petition. The games stayed removed. The refund window had closed. The anti-cheat system applies permanent bans with no appeal. The legal challenges are active across multiple jurisdictions, including a 656 million class action in the United Kingdom. The compatibility layer investment and the handheld hardware that shipped in 2022 made the alternative operating system viable for mainstream gaming. That investment created the ecosystem that made every other tool in this comparison necessary and valuable. The refund policy within the 2-hour and 14-day window remains the most consumer-friendly in the industry. The library is the largest. The community features are the most developed. The platform is the center of gravity for the industry. The contract says you never owned any of it. Heroic Games Launcher was created by Flavio Lima as a graphical interface for a command line tool that reverse-engineered one store's protocols. The project grew to support 4 stores. Version 2.19 shipped in January 2026. The license is open source. Funding comes from voluntary donations. There is no commercial arrangement with any store. Every integration depends on unofficial access. When a store changes its authentication, session handling, or download endpoints, the launcher breaks. In January 2024, the fix for a broken login required deleting configuration files and re-importing every game. In December 2023, an entire library disappeared. In May 2025, the launcher stopped working on the handheld altogether. The community's description is accurate. Click and go until one of the stores changes something. The ownership argument is strongest through the store that sells games without copy protection. Playing those titles through Heroic on the alternative operating system means accessing games the user can argue they actually own. The combination of that store, this launcher, and the handheld hardware is the closest thing to genuine game ownership in mainstream digital gaming. Lutris began as the Oblivion Launcher in 2009. Mathieu Commandon built the project's most distinctive innovation, the community install script, which turns one-person solution into executable knowledge available to every user. The project describes itself as a video game preservation platform. The supported sources cover every major store, publisher clients, emulators, and custom configurations. The scope is the broadest of any tool in this comparison. The defining failure is the silent install. A script runs to completion, reports success, and the application is broken. The user discovers the failure when they try to launch. Compatibility layer runners disappear after unrelated system changes. Configurations break and cannot be restored by reverting the change. In 2024, donation support fell by approximately 40%. The creator's time is now divided between the open source project and a commercial employer. In March 2026, a controversy over undisclosed artificial intelligence assistance in the codebase raised questions about contribution provenance. The position has narrowed as the dominant platform's built-in compatibility has improved, and the adapter handles major stores more cleanly. What remains is everything those two do not cover: publisher clients, emulation, unusual installers. The position is narrower, it is still irreplaceable. Bottles was created by Mirko Brombin in the early 2020s. Each application gets its own isolated backed-up environment. The snapshot and restore system is the practical differentiator no other tool provides as cleanly. The sandbox that protects the system also restricts what the application can access. When an application needs resources, the sandbox does not expose. The user must grant broader permissions, sometimes defeating the purpose of the isolation. The rewrite in progress has received grant funding, but creates uncertainty about migration paths. The community's positioning is consistent. The cleanest environment manager, excellent for one application, not a gaming hub. The four tools occupy distinct positions in the same ecosystem. Steam is the platform. Over 41 million concurrent users, the largest library. The most developed community features, the compatibility layer that made the alternative operating system viable for mainstream gaming. The subscriber agreement that says licensed, not sold. The platform you likely need regardless of your philosophy about ownership. Heroic is the adapter. The stores that do not provide official clients for the alternative operating system, accessible through one interface with integration into the dominant platform's game mode. The tool breaks when stores change their systems. The fix depends on volunteers having time to respond. The ownership argument becomes practical when copy protection-free games are played through an open-source launcher on open hardware. Lutris is the preservation platform. Community install scripts encoding accumulated knowledge. Publisher clients, legacy titles, console emulation, the broadest coverage, the highest maintenance cost. Silent install failures, runner churn, funding decline. The creator's time divided. Still, irreplaceable for what it covers. Bottles is the precision tool. One application in an isolated, backed-up version-controlled environment. Snapshot and restore. The sandbox that protects and sometimes prevents. The rewrite in progress. Not a gaming hub, not a library browser. The cleanest environment manager for the task it was designed for. If you play games primarily through the dominant platform and your library lives there, the dominant platform is the only tool you need. Accept the subscriber agreement. Accept that licensed means not owned. Accept that game removals, account actions, and theoretical shutdown are all permitted by the contract. If you have libraries from stores that do not provide clients for the alternative operating system, add the adapter. Accept that it will break approximately once a year. Keep save files backed up outside cloud synchronization. If you need publisher clients, emulators, or unusual installers that require specific compatibility layer configurations, add the preservation platform. Accept the silent install failure as the defining risk. Verify that applications work after installation. If you need one specific application in an isolated, backed up, reproducible environment, add the precision tool. Accept that the sandbox may require workarounds that weaken the isolation. The dominant platform created the ecosystem. The adapter brings other stores into it. The preservation platform covers everything those two miss. The precision tool manages individual environments with version control and rollback. None of them replace each other. The combination you need depends on the combination of libraries, stores, and applications you use. The failure mode you accept depends on how much maintenance you are willing to perform and how much control you need over your compatibility layer environments. The platform says licensed, not sold. The adapter connects you to a store that says sold and means it. The preservation platform keeps the knowledge of how to make difficult software run from being lost. The precision tool protects you from the compatibility layer changes that break unmanaged setups. 4 tools, 4 philosophies, 4 failure modes. The question this comparison has been asking from the beginning is the same question it ends on. Which combination fits the way you use your games, and which failure modes are you willing to accept for the tools you choose?